Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this special occasion, we will learn about the inference from picture. We will make some inference from pictures. Sometime in the reading book, we will find some pictures beside the text. So, how to infer from the picture? Okay, let's see. An inference is a conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reasoning. Inference is a conclusion that we can make or we can get from the evidence we know, or we have to give the reason if we want to infer something. There should be the evidence and reasons from our inference or from our conclusion. So in reading, making inference is really important. Why? Because from the inference or from the conclusion, we can understand. It helps us to understand the whole of the text or to understand what we are reading. Then, in fact, good readers will make inference all the time. After reading the text, of course, in our mind, there are many sentences or there are many thoughts that can be our inference or our conclusion based on the text. Okay, what is the difference between prediction and inference? Okay, let's see the prediction. A good guess part of inferring. If we infer, then we predict something. If we make a conclusion, then we predict something. Can check your accuracy as you read. If we predict something, we can check the accuracy of our reading, whether what we find or what we predict is right or wrong. Okay, so what about the inference? It is more precise, of course. Reading between the lines. Okay, reading between the lines. What does it mean? Inference means we look for or scan, search the hiding meaning between the text, between the sentences in the text. Then it is not the explicitly meaning, but we have to find the hidden meaning from the text. So it's called reading between the lines. Filling in your head what is not written on the page, of course. The inference is come from our mind, based on the book and our mind. Okay, next, how to infer. There are some ways or some things to do if we want to make inference or we want to infer about the text or about something. The first, infer to figure out what the author is saying. If it is a textbook, then we have to infer to figure out what the author wants to deliver to the reader. Then, read between the lines. After reading the whole text, we get some explicitly meaning from the text. But how we infer, we need to find some hidden meaning from the text. Then after finding the explicitly meaning, we think, let's put it in our mind and find out, then make the inference, the conclusion from the text so that we can understand well about the text. Look for clues in pictures or words to help the figure out what the book, video, or picture is about. Okay, sometimes in a text, in a book, there will be some pictures, some videos, some other words to help us understand the text. Then, we can also make some inference or conclusion based on the pictures, the table, and etc. Keep thinking if their inference is correct or needs to be revised. Of course, sometimes our inference or our conclusion will be right or wrong. But it's back to the reader. What the author wants to deliver to the reader. Does the reader get what the author means? So, we can keep in our mind whether our inference is correct or it needs to be revised. Okay, from this picture, what we read from the text and what in our mind, so the conclusion is what you infer. The inference is based on the textbook and also our mind. Okay, there are some words to use when we want to infer or to conclude about something. There are I think, I infer that, I predict, my guess is, perhaps blah blah blah, this could mean blah blah blah, it could be that, maybe, and etc. Those are some words to say about the inference, to make an inference. Okay, before making an inference about something, so there are some questions. Ask yourself about some question. The first is, what do you observe? Is it a text? Is it a paragraph? Is it a picture? Or is it a table? Then, set in your mind, what do you want to infer from? After that, what do you infer? What do you infer? What do you conclude? From the picture or from the text, we will conclude about something. Example, from the text or a narrative text, we want to infer about the characteristic of the main character. Or from the picture, we want to conclude about the main topic of the picture, and etc. And the third, what evidence support your inference? We need an evidence or reason from our inference. If it is the text, so we can find some evidence or some reasons from the sentences in the text. Okay? So if it is a picture, we can also find the evidence or the reason from the things in the picture. Of course, the inference or conclusion can be right or wrong. But the evidence and the reason is really important if we want to infer something or if we want to make a conclusion. Okay, of course, a conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reason. So, this is the example. I infer that there is a ghost in my house based on the evidence that I have seen objects moving on their own. So, in the inference here, he said that there is a ghost in my house, in his house. So what is the evidence or what is the reason? The reason is there are some objects moving on their own. So based on this evidence, he make the inference. But it can be wrong or right. It can the things in that house are moving because ghosts or another thing. It could be. This is the example. Then if we want to infer something, that we have to find the evidence and also the reason. Because it is related each other. Okay, so I repeat here again. Making inference can be thought as reading between lines. Reading between lines. Then you have to look for the hidden meaning from the text, from the sentences in the text. Okay, let's see. The first is we want to make some inference from pictures. So here, there is a baby. There is a picture of a baby. Then, let's try to infer or let's try to make the conclusion. The inference is, I infer that the baby is shocking about something. Yes, of course. Why can I say that? The evidence, because from his expression, it is clear enough that we can know that he is surprised about something. So we can say the evidence that the mother surprised him, or there is something in front of him, so it could be. But the real evidence here, his expression is clear enough to explain that he is surprised about something. Then, this is the example of inference from picture. Next, let's make an inference or let's make conclusion from some other pictures. Let's practice then. So that's all the explanation about the inference from pictures. So later there will be some inference from other topic. We will discuss later. That's all for today. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.